Today we're revisiting probably one of the most bizarre video game adaptations of all time. Hi, my name's Drew and welcome to another review video on my channel. Today we will be talking about Super Mario Brothers. A film that I haven't seen in about 20 years time, I believe. I can't even remember exactly when it was. It popped up on Netflix just a few days ago. I immediately had to put it on my watch list and thought this is the next video I have to do. I couldn't remember quite so much about it, so I thought it was very interesting to revisit it and examine all sorts of aspects of it. Straight off the bat, it's quite interesting to me how they've taken what is a very classical game, Super Mario, and they've turned it into something drastically different, in my opinion. I'm not a huge Mario fan, I've played Mario games in my time, but still this is really a huge departure from what the game is all about. I mean, not that the game's so deep to begin with, it's basically one guy, a plumber, who's in a foreign land world, and he has to save the princess from the castle, who's been held there by a big monster. It's very basic in concept. I mean, the guy doesn't even talk as far as I can remember. I don't think there's even speech bubbles or anything. So yeah, and he jumps about, he jumps on enemies' heads to eliminate them. That's basically what it's about. So they've taken this, and it's very interesting. They've fallen into the trap where they are so convinced, I'm talking about the makers of the film here, that they need to ground it in reality to make it even worthwhile watching. So all of a sudden we're in Brooklyn, we've got Mario and his brother Luigi, they're both plumbers.
A quick warning here, there will be spoilers for this film, so if you do intend to watch yourself, you should go and do that first now before continuing with the video.
No, one thing I'm not sure about is whether this came about in this film or it was decided somewhere else that the last name is Mario, and that's why they're the Super Mario Brothers. As in, Mario is called Mario Mario and Luigi's called Luigi Mario. It's, I mean, it's a fun joke in the film, but I'm a bit worried that they invented this and that's kind of stuck. These two plumbers, they help this archaeologist. Her name's Daisy. She's got this site in Brooklyn where they're excavating dinosaurs. By chance they meet Daisy, Luigi's immediately taken by her. He asks her out to dinner with the help of Mario, and they do one of these things that's another pet peeve of mine in films. They make a date, so they even agree for the same day, the time, but they don't even exchange addresses. It's like, it's really silly. As a part of this date, Luigi and Daisy, they go to the excavation site. Daisy wants to show Luigi her work because Luigi finds it interesting, and there Daisy gets kidnapped by two people who are actually from another dimension. While this kind of fits where the game goes, I suppose. I mean, you go down these big tubes and suddenly you're in another world. I suppose this is where they kind of got the idea from. Here it just blew my mind. I don't know how it makes sense. But anyway, the basic gist of it is that the meteor that 65 million years ago eradicated all dinosaur life on Earth, it created this parallel world, if I understood it correctly. And so this parallel world has been going alongside ours for all this time, but they didn't evolve from apes and primates, they evolved from dinosaurs. Which, I don't know, it's really weird. When you think about the Super Mario games, Mario, Luigi and Princess Peach, who you have to save, are the only humans. Everyone else is some kind of animal or monster or what have you. In this film, pretty much everyone is human. Just so that they can make the film easier. I mean, I get it. I haven't checked when the film was made. I'm assuming from the way it looked, it was beginning of the 90s, maybe mid-90s, something like that. So while special effects, CGI weren't as far advanced as they obviously felt that it would be required to make a film like this, I still think they should have went a different way. We've got these humans, they evolved from dinosaurs. For some weird reason, this means that you've got the weirdest haircuts around. Some of them are rather strange. And they live in this underground city that is somehow, to me, on first glance, it was so reminiscent of Gotham. It was like 1 part Gotham and 2 parts Total Recall, with all the neon lights and everything, just the way it felt, very crowded and stuffy. So you've got this underground world, there's fungus all over, that's where they bring in the mushrooms from Super Mario. It's growing everywhere without explanation, but it's something that they all seemingly do not like very much. Luigi and Mario are trying to save Daisy and another group of women who have been kidnapped from Brooklyn. Story-wise, there's not really much to talk about here. They journey through these lands and you do see some different locations again, a callback to the game. You've got Koopa, who is the big baddie. He's also got his own very special haircut. He's also human. They're pretty much all human except some of the guards, because they have this machine which can evolve and devolve beings. When they have their thugs, their guards who don't follow along or don't fulfill their missions, orders, what have you, they get devolved into these Goombas who are slightly taller. They've got these amazingly small heads. So they're sort of half human and half dinosaur, so yeah, and they are obviously not very intelligent and they just follow orders. Looking very different to the Goombas that you have in the games, who are, as far as I recall, rather small. The big twist in the story is that Daisy, she is actually one of these dinosaur people, I'll call them. So she's actually come from this world. She was, as a baby, she was taken to our world and she was abandoned there. So all her life she was an orphan, and now she finds out she's actually not only from a parallel dimension, and not only is she actually the descendant of dinosaurs, but she also still has a living relative, which is her father, who has been devolved into this fungus. So it's quite interesting. So in this world, I've only just thought of that now. So everyone is evolved from dinosaurs, except this one guy who was the king. And he, for some reason, he evolved from fungus. Okay, it's actually never explained, but that's what happens. So she is actually also not descended from dinosaurs, she's actually also a fungus. I've only just realised that. Very, very strange. Yeah. So the dinosaurs' plan, Koopa's plan, is to take Daisy's stone. She's got this meteorite stone around her neck to complete the meteor, which will meld the two worlds together, so our world and their world, and then they plan to take it over. They plan to devolve us back to being apes, and then they can just take over. That's the basic plan. It goes wrong, of course. Our heroes, the Super Mario Brothers, they managed to avert this together with Daisy. Actually, it was rather entertaining. You have Mario, whose superpower obviously is plumbing, which I can't really remember in the game. I mean, the only thing he does in the game that really somehow relates to plumbing is when he goes down the tubes. That's pretty much all he does. But here, plumbing is absolute superpower. I kind of love that they wear they wear their tool belts and they have their tools with them. Well, Luigi loses his at some point, but Mario's got his. And he does actually use them quite a lot in the film. So whether he's trying to block a door with a wrench, or he's unscrewing something so that they can pass through a vent, they do really make this a thing where we have to know Mario is good at plumbing. So if you're a plumber out there, Mario has to be your hero. I mean, there's no other way. You can't go for Wolverine or Captain America or anyone. You have to choose Mario. There's just no other way. In the end, it all works out. The good guys win. They save the princess, as it were, just like they do in the games. Although, unfortunately, there's no castle. It's quite funny, you know, I went into this film yesterday expecting it to be dreadful, and I really thought that I would dislike it and think it was just bad. I must admit, in the end, I was actually quite surprised by how entertaining it was. Now, don't get me wrong, the way they did the story, it's so weird to me that they would go with this, that they would try to ground it in reality so strongly. With them all being humans, and the only non-humans, you've got the Goombas, and you've also got Yoshi. And even the Goombas, they don't look anything like the ones that we had in the games. I mean, they've got this really ridiculous design where they're so huge and they've got these tiny heads. But it's interesting though, there are many things that I find really entertaining and funny about this world when you think about them, because these people, they've evolved from dinosaurs, but their world is still so similar to ours. So you have all these things that would be in ours too. They have all these funny design elements to it. I mean, they've got police cars, for instance. They look like our police cars. They're called police. Everything looks just like our police. And well, okay, the cars do have some battering rams, etc. But generally, you know what I'm saying, they look a lot like our police cars. One thing that's particularly funny about the police cars is when they get in, they can't start it, and it's got this computer there that you need to do so. And Luigi, it's shown, it's explained that Luigi starts it because he can play video games. So they're using this cliche where just because you're a gamer, you're able to hack stuff, which I thought was particularly funny. This is obviously one of the things they were like, oh, this is based on a game, so we have to put in a gamer moment so that gamers can feel proud about themselves. And then the clothes, I think it's funny, you've got one of the most iconic enemies in Super Mario, which are the turtles in the shells, and some of them have spikes. Well, they've even made it into the design. While they don't look like turtles, they do have these spikes on their clothes, so it looks like these spikes, they're not made of metal, they're just from the same material as the jackets. The jackets basically just have spikes in the same material coming out all over the place. It looks really funny, particularly when you see the policeman, because I thought, you could not possibly take that serious. The city, all the shops that you have, the neon signs, all these things, it looks like our world. You have bars, they do dances. For some reason, they've got the same songs that we have. So I think they should have went all out. They should have really taken the fantastical aspects and just ran with that instead of really trying to just make it this weird thing where it could actually happen in our world. You also have product placement here. It's actually one of the things I really liked, and it was only one I really noticed in particular, because Mario, towards the end, he takes from his tool belt, he's got a wee bomb, which is the iconic bomb from Super Mario that's wound up and just walks along. And he does this, and you can see from the reactions of everyone else that this bomb is obviously, while being small, really powerful. And so he sets it down, it starts walking very, very slowly towards Koopa. It falls down and it sort of latches itself onto the ceiling. Later on, you can see it walking along and suddenly it's on the ceiling. And it's really funny because it's walking underneath Koopa. And so you're seeing from the camera, you can see it from the top down. And it's funny, you see the soles of the Bob-omb's shoes and it actually says Reebok on them. It's one of the funniest product placements I've ever seen. Another wee tidbit of the design that I liked was they added in the currency of this place. You see a poster somewhere, I think it was a reward sign, and the currency is called coupons. So they've taken the ruler, they've taken Koopa, and they've taken coupons and combined it. I thought that was a stroke of genius. I thought the name was brilliant, it really was. While the film does have all the aspects that you love from the game, so you do have sliding down tubes and you do have some of the enemies there, I suppose you could call it. You've got mushrooms, you've got the Goombas, you've got all these things. So they've got the Bob-omb. They put in all these things that are from the game, so they're really trying to do their best. It's just that if you're a huge Mario fan, you go into the cinema to watch this, it's not what you're expecting, really not. So while I'm saying that, again, it's a very entertaining film, and I must admit, I thought that the film was not boring. While the story is very basic, and like I say, there's so many weird and unsensible things in there, even story-wise, it's still, it keeps you entertained throughout. I didn't think it was bad. I liked the characters, the way they were written, the way they developed. I did think it was rather odd that Mario is shown to be this constantly angry person. That's not the impression I had of him in the games, but there you go. Luigi particularly I liked. He's got a good development towards the end of the film. And I liked Koopa. I mean, yes, he's very goofy, he's very cartoony, but still I thought it was okay. It was okay. And one other thing I need to touch upon are the effects. I was quite surprised. Again, I didn't check when it was released, but I was very surprised by the CGI. stuff in particular because I thought it looked quite okay, considering that this film was easily 25 to 30 years old. But they also used practical effects, like Yoshi for instance, and you have the Goombas, and I couldn't fault them for that at all. I thought they were flawless, really. Again, I was quite impressed by that. So if you take the effects and you take the script and just very fun images all around, it's a very entertaining film, particularly for kids, I must admit. If it's been a while since you've seen it, I'd say watch it again, and hopefully you'll discover the same as me, that it's actually held up as a piece of entertainment. That concludes my review. Have you seen Super Mario Brothers? If you did, when was the last time you did? And if you do rewatch it, let me know in the comments down below what your verdict is at the end. Is it worse than you remembered? Is it better than you remembered? Like I say, to me, definitely better than I remembered. Very surprised. Watch it with your kids. I cannot doubt that they would be highly entertained by this film. I think it's really funny. So if you like this review, this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, share the video. It would help me out a lot, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for supporting the channel. Take care. Bye.